Morning, everyone. Probably so. That's a strange voice for Ashley. Yeah, he's only going to come later on today. Still be reading the chapter, what you call it, trading room again tomorrow. I'm just standing in for him because he's taking a bit of a break, a well-earned break. So just so you know. Okay. So you're stuck with me again till tomorrow. Thanks, Bert. I was fishing a bit there. I was hoping you were going to say that. Not exactly fishing there. Thanks. Yeah. As per normal, it's going to start in a couple of minutes. Just wait until 1:30. I'll have to try and start on time. When you find me? Going to mute you all. You can always mute. Ask me to unmute if you want to verbalize, interact, chat to me basically. But there's a bit of background noise there, so I'm just going to mute you all. But please, if you do want to join in and voice something, it's the easiest time to do that. It's an interactive forum, very important that we do just that. That some of the newer guys joining might get a bit phased at first. Anything you start with, don't panic on that. Don't be phased anything new. It's always going to look a bit hectic when you start anything. Just hang on in there. We're going to all help you. We all want you to do okay, and just stick with it basically. And the gobbledygook will after a while become sense. Hopefully. Just approaching our pass, just want to say again, don't forget, this is a trading room and your trade ideas come first. I'll try and come up with one or two if I see them. We interact, we learn from each other, everybody, including myself, we learn from each other. I miss stuff, and sometimes I think wrong and you guys think it's short, sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. So it's very important. Interact, start thinking for ourselves. And as I say, I'm also here to clarify. There are going to be times where, especially newer guys, thinking, does that mean? No problem at all. Please voice it. Don't carry on not knowing because you're scared to ask. That's not going to help you, of course. We are not here to ridicule you. We're here to assist. But just bear in mind, you need a dollop of common sense, like anything in life, certainly with this. Control those emotions. And if you see me put something up on there and you say, where do you get that from? Just say, Roger, what's that? And I will copy and paste or explain to you. This is for clarifying as well as trading. It's not a training class for which the Zoom classes for the SMC purchase will have. That goes in depth in different forex and lot sizes and different indicators and CFDs and that sort of thing. But once you've got the basics, you're not quite sure, just clarifying. They said that, I don't know quite what they mean. I'll try and make it more easier for you to understand. And I'm going to be honest, I still can't explain it correctly. There'll be other guys in there, like Yapi and Ashley and Piers and Mikhail and Zeph, who've traded a bit before, and they'll, I'm sure, Yapi as well as Fadi, will happily step in and explain it, or I might miss the point you're trying to ask, and they'll explain it better. But no, it's not a question of egos here. It's a question of bloody winning and learning. That's the bottom line. I've been trading for a while, and I've learned to humble climb many times. So, yeah, bit of humility doesn't do anyone any harm. Okay, we all started at one stage. Never forget that. We all got in the car and think, what the hell have we got myself into? Until now, you can try illegally, arm out the window, chat something, or checking out your cell phone as you're changing gear, not sure how you did it because it's automatic. Not suggesting you break the law. I'm just trying to use this as an analogy. Don't panic on it. This is not going to split the atom, pure mathematic PhD stuff here. It's not chess grandmaster stuff here. But it is emotional, and that is probably the toughest one to overcome. In fact, without doubt, I think that all trainers are the toughest. That's why I try to encourage people to get off because I did that when I started. The demo, in the end, I got a bit of a did silly things on the demo because you can't lose on it because it's all fake money. You know, full sense of security, and then you go live and not quite the same because then your heartbeat goes up It's a completely different mental aspect. Playing a sport for money and for a bit of fun. So just a demo to me personally, it's just there. So you know how to operate the platform. So you press the wrong button, it doesn't matter. Press it, try and press another button till you get it right. So you don't press the wrong button basically on the live. Try to learn how to trade on a demo, take out the emotions, then losing the whole point behind it. Because that is your biggest enemy, unfortunately, is the emotional fear and greed that goes with trading. Okay, well, that's past. I did a bit of a sort of chit chat there. Okay, interesting week last week. We had some good ones out, and let's be honest, it happens. It's one of those things. You're going to have bad ones. And that's another negative about having a good run. You expect it to go on forever, and then you have a bad one. Often you overexpose, can't believe it. Add more to it, it's got to come right. And in the end, you take a knock on one of them, which knocks out the 5 or 6 good ones. So just remember, disciplined on that position sizing, the volumes you go in. Make sure you got your risk management in place. If you get 10 grand, don't risk more than 500 or 600. Don't suddenly think it must come right and blow the whole account on one trade because you think in your own mind it's bound to come right in the end. Well, it might well do, sure, but then it might well not do well, sure. So always bear that in mind. The mind, unfortunately, is the one that plays the tricks. And that's why, in all honesty, we've got to be careful position size, however good you when you're dealing with an extremely large increased retail market, which we worldwide, there's a lot of unpredictable human emotions coming into it. Give an example, just to go on a little bit, sorry. And that's all, in the old days of magazines, you went to CNAs or whatever, you bought a magazine. They used to do market surveys. It's amazing how they get it wrong because it asks people, often people don't know really what they want, or they're asked questions what they think you want to hear. They go out and spend a lot of money, produce it, and the magazine fails. And another one they produce, which they thought was a bit of a waste of time, takes off. Human emotions, what we like and don't like, can even confuse ourselves, never mind other people. And that plays a large part in it. So I'm not saying you ever control people, oh, control your emotions. Yeah, well, yeah, some people can, I suppose. I don't know, probably sociopaths don't have any emotions. They'll always be there. But to try, if you can't control, at least understand them. It never go away. It's just the one of this. It's built into our DNA, But to try and understand them, and unfortunately, that's one of the problems in life. And the media, in my opinion, exploit a lot. It's human emotions. They play to your fear and greed and get excessively large reactions as a result of it, which does, in my opinion, more damage than good. And it's not helping the situation. Okay, because fear and greed sells, emotion sells, dreams sell. Rationality is boring and often does not. Okay, so just a little bit of feet on the ground and understanding, and together with your learning process, and hopefully you'll start getting quicker towards becoming a pro. Okay, read books and books and books, rather read books and books of psychology or anything else, personal psychology, and get to know yourself. I always say, you can be lied to me if you like, try not to lie to yourself. We have a fancy phrase called cognitive dissonance. It's a fancy way of saying denial. We often have denial of something we don't want to know about. And in the end, that reality comes often too late to do anything else. You be honest with yourself. And just don't try and shoot for the moon. Always have a positive attitude, of course, we know that. And always have your goals, but don't be unrealistic. Don't start putting 50 Rand in your account and get 500 Rand out. You might get lucky one day, but you've got to say, if it's that easy, everyone will be doing it. Okay, just be realistic, use and understand your emotions will be the 3 biggest things you can do to make yourself successful, not just in training, but in life generally. Okay. Okay, NASDAQ. We got it up here, and I've been saying like a still the rallies. And I'm bringing that up now because I'm going to get rid else because I was right. I might not be quite so quick to shout my mouth off if I was completely wrong. I try to be honest with you guys, but I'm still human. And sometimes when I get it wrong, I'm going to face up. I try and face up the fact that I'm going to get there by it. Glad to have you there, Zeph. A couple of times you've gone into and I've chickened out. You were right. One occasion I was right, you were wrong. Another occasion you were right, I was wrong. So it happens, all right, you've been trading for a while, but I mean, you know yourself, Jeff. I guarantee if we trade more than a couple of months, you got it wrong. It's impossible not to. As somebody who'd like horses, you can't call yourself a horse rider until you've fallen off the damn thing. Just hope you survive to get back on again. And that's why equity management is so important. You're going to take the knocks. If you have your volumes correct, you survive to go, you're still in the game. Overdo it, you're out the game. And there's nothing worse. You went into your margin call, the thing flies in your direction, you're overexposed, you're not on board, you took a knock when it could have been a profit. Another thing, thanks, Zeph, because I need people like yourself and the guys who trade a bit assistance on this as well. And if you agree, say so. And then we can chat about it and formulate something hopefully will be right, or isn't it as right as we can do. Okay, so short the rally, it's still the way forward. I think a lot of this stuff's overcooked at the moment, but think is the operative term. I don't know. Please believe me, guys, I don't know. I think it's overcooked. Yeah, well, a lot of it's political denial. Thanks for that, Mikhail. By the way, just a little tip to you guys. Anytime I post something saying I'm right, fully welcome, fully welcome. When I'm saying wrong, I'll leave that to Zeph so I can tease him. I'm just joking, but yeah, I can laugh at myself and etc. But the idea is to try and, to learn, and nobody gets 100%. But yeah, a lot of political denial because they don't want the people in power, don't want people to blame them for the recession. It's not quite as simple as blaming whoever's in power. The recession it often leads up, it takes time, and a lot of other factors in. But most people, unfortunately, economically not that knowledgeable, they tend to blame whoever's in charge. It's not always their fault. I guarantee, Zeph, if you're in charge of a crappy football team, however good a manager you are, the team lose. I guarantee I don't have a clue about football. If you put me in charge of a team of world bloody champions and Messi's and God knows what, I'm not a very big football fan, so excuse my ignorance, but top players, even though I'm a crappy manager, my team probably wins. So, there's a lot of other factors as well. But the manager usually gets the one that gets the boot when it goes wrong. The NZDJPY was a disappointment, but we'll come to that in a moment. We'll look at the others. Okay, so NASDAQ, I think it's a bit overcooked. I don't say you should buy it now. It's going against the trend. I'd rather still of the opinion sell the rally. So if we can get a bit of a better price, we can sell it. Otherwise, leave it alone. That's my stance. You've got it up there. You're free to interact. Remember, it's a forum. You might turn around and say, hang on a minute, no, it's a pretty good thing to sell now. Or I think for this reason, not because it's a feeling in my gut. Well, that counts, but a little bit more substantiated factors come in to buy it. We can look at it. But I'm just checking out my thoughts. Sit on the sidelines. Don't go against the trend. But I think we could get a bit of a bump here. Give us opportunity down again. Line to a valued customer of mine or trader of mine or whatever, asking me if I've got a trade, which I might get some not at the moment. Right, okay, just get these guys in. Okay. Okay, so I don't know, I'm in the trading room, so I just got some TRs. Sort of low on words, should we say. Just a second in there. Okay, right. Let's just go through the trades we had out on Friday. I don't know what I told you about golds, but anyway, I got in gold and a few clients got in gold at 1680. We had I forget what the SL was, it was about $15 away. I'm at the 90 something, and the TP was 1650. There are times when you can move the TP, and I was in it, and I did move the TP down to 1630. I moved the stop down to 1650, and then I moved it down again to 1650, and then I got stopped out at 1650, as it turns out. So I might as well just left the bloody thing anyway. But you never know. Might not have and got some more out of it, but it went very well. Fantastic. Don't forget out in the trading we should have done because maybe missed it, got a bit late because I sent out fairly early in the morning to some of my guys who work with me. But that was a nice one. That was a beautiful, difficult one. Excuse me. Because as I say, the dollar was through the roof and the yields were through the damn roof. So it wasn't exactly brain surgery or neurosurgery to see the downside was likely, and it was a peach of a trade. We'll start with the winners before we get to the losers. Good morning, Cheryl. Good to have you with us. Oh, no, hang on. Late entries. Now, remember, in this, because I'm a male, I'm hosting it, males can be late as much as they like, but females have to pay a fine to the guys if they're more than 1 second late. Do you agree with that, guys? Wait for Ashley to come and take the mickey out of me now. That's true. Actually, I'd love to speak this week, like I'm doing a nonsense speech now. Thank you for your support there, Philip. Men's Liberation Organization. We're fighting back. I think I've got a member at last. I've been the only one for years. I think I've got Philip to join me. Okay, keep the banter going. I like it, even if you don't. Keeps a smile on my face. Okay, but joking apart, fantastic to have you here. Cheryl, as always. And we've got Jesus and Siabonga. Jesus, another experienced guy, so he helps out a lot. Ashley's now, come on, Ashley, you've only been in a couple of months and you're one of the traders now. So that's another lady there. Opinion is valued. As long, of course, it agrees with mine. The last couple of times she's been agreeing with Zeph and not me, so I'm a bit sulky towards her at the moment. But being a highly mature gentleman, I shall get over it. It's going to be difficult, but I'm going to get over it. Oh dear. Anyway, moving along. Gold did well. Okay, we'll go through. I guess we'll start the negative trade. Start off with a disaster. The trade this was. Well, it wasn't disaster. It went wrong, but some people's a bit of a disaster because it hit the bloody stop loss, and I know for a fact 1 or 2 were overexposed, and it hurt them badly, and it hurt particularly from my point of view on a purely sort of a mental note, not a money here. Is they did so well in other trades, took their profit a little bit early. Maybe they modified the stop too quickly. Maybe that's my fault. I don't know. So they won several trades and did okay, and make 10 units per trade they won on, and then they went and lost about 30 odd units, for argument's sake, on the one against. That was instead of you win 2 out of 3, you make money. You win 1, you lose 1 out of 5, and you don't make much money because overexposed and holding on. Sometimes worse, adding to the losing trade until you think it's got to go the right way, because we're so many good winners, it must continue in that way. And in the end, the knock hits you far worse than it should have done. So the Brent, for a lot of people, hit their pocket more than it really should have. But nevertheless, it was at 84 the stop loss. It was there for a reason, to work out the volume position size. As you can see, it hit the 84 and stopped out. It's having a bounce now. So the next question, always get the mind, purely emotion. Should we jump in and get that money back? Well, that's not such a stupid idea, but I'm going to hang 5 for the moment. As in the daily update, it said with the recession now, so almost confirmed, with the high interest rates being confirmed. Look what happened to the pound over the last few days. It just means that unless the producers start pulling back on the tap of producing the oil, in other words, the Saudi, speaking of an OPEC, get an agreement to sort of, shall we say, close off the tap a little bit, try and recover the oil price. People are flying less, it's costing them more. People are not traveling as much as they used to when you're paying, I use Rand terms, 25 Rand, whatever it cost a litre, compared to 15. So they're hesitating. I mean, it now becomes a mission go to Durban. Not just the petrol, the toll gates, never mind even paying the cost of the accommodation. So they're thinking twice, flying, maybe on business, maybe we can do a Zoom. The flights are now outrageous. Yeah, that's so. We're not just going to pop down to Durban by flight when it was about 400, 500 Rand, 600 Rand return. Now we've got to think twice about doing it. So you're using up less oil, clearly. So it has been a bit of a pullback there. I thought that would hold, that's why we did it. And it was a wrong one. We've got to take the good with bad with the good. This one, unfortunately, was a bad one. NZDJPY, let's see, jumping again, it might recover. I don't know. Let's have a look at it. But this one, again, got stopped out. We had an 80 on there. 82, beg you. 82 was the stop, and we got stopped out, as you can clearly see. I thought it was going to recover at one stage, but sometime early hours of open this morning, it bumped right down, as you can see on the on the wick of the candle, stop the guys out, and it's bounced back up again. So you probably see it start going back up again. We're not be on board. I'm not giving up on this. Don't jump it now. I think it's a possibility getting right now, the possibility to buy again. I just want to just go a few moments. I'm not boring you guys on the reason why I say that. Just write it down. Keep an eye on it. It's because the yen strengthened a bit because obviously they like a weaker oil price, and that's been delivered them beautifully because they import all the oil. Canada likes a stronger, higher oil price because they're an oil producer. However, where the problem is for Japan is oil's measured in dollars. And never mind, it's 18 now dollars to the rand over here. It's obviously weakened the yen to a certain extent because they're paying in dollars. So even though, because the price coming down, it strengthened their yen, is that going to be? And will the oil price still drop below $80 and be sustained in that level? I'm not sure the producer will allow that to happen because they can control it by, obviously, by closing off the taps to create a supply and demand situation. So I think there's still a possibility of a hold on this one. My opinion, I'd like to hear you others, but if that 200-day moving average on the daily can hold, maybe even going in tomorrow, where we can have the entire candle, including the wick, holding above there, we might have another bash going in and buying this, and we might get our money back on it. Okay, the Brent, I still think we're going to get upside at some stage. I'm not saying you chase it now, but we might miss it if we get to 86 or not on board. But after going to 86 to pulling back again down to 83.50, I'm very aware of it until it takes up maybe at least 87. I might change my mind, but I'm a little bit wary of getting in again too soon and doubling up the loss. So I'm wary of it, but I think there's a chance of a bounce. But we shall keep an eye on that, and I think it's another one to keep an eye on. Happy with that, if that's my little take on that one. So keep an eye on them, but let's not get too cute. Okay. Well, thank you again, Phil. I don't know what I do without you. Thank you very much. Get in trouble. Otherwise, I say, hang on, see your ugly face. Actually, no, they say, can't see your very handsome face. Thanks very much. Sorry about that. Still not deceitful. Well, you know the reason why, hey, Philip? Moving along. Okay, right, where were we? Okay, thanks for that, Mike. Right, so we had two baddies there, NZD, JPY, and gold, but we might get out of it. Let's go to the other ones, which are all good ones. Let's start with the S&P 500. That came out in the week when I was on, and that's didn't quite, yes, I think it did actually get to the TP, 36.44 on Friday. Just about got there, forget it. Yeah, just about got there, or maybe just, just about got there. But I think most of the guys will be out now anyway, so you're not going to hold on to lose money on Sunday. It's about 1/2 a pip away from bloody TP. That'd be crazy. But I think most guys hit the TP or have taken it already, and you made a lovely, beautiful profit there. A nice fat tick on that one. We had a share out, Apple at 155.35 as a short, and that's doing okay. Closed at 150, dropped down to 149 at one stage. I don't know. Anyway, whatever happened, it's about a little bit up, but it's at least it's just under $5 per share in profit. I don't know what price size of. Probably had different sizes, volumes for so many different people, but the beauty is it was slightly in profit. Okay, so we're $5 per share in profit. Where's the TP? 134. If it gets there, 136, sorry, 80s, 136.68. If it gets there, clean in profit, see how it opens at 3:30. If it starts going down further below 150, you can maybe get your stop loss of maybe $1 below entry, covering costs, and then you can't lose on it. We'll check it out there. Okay, so that's in a winning position. Good stuff. Now, whose was it again? Warren. Is he in today? I'm not sure Warren is there. He came up with the GBP-CHF. Occasionally you get one like this, where you go in and in the mornings and later on in the day, it hits your TP. We got it 108.27, I think it was, and it hit the TP later on in the day. Doesn't happen very often when you do. Hallelujah. That hit the TP. That was not my idea. That was Warren's. We agreed on it. We took it. An absolute beaut. And not even by the afternoon. I think we got it in the mornings, about midday, 1 o'clock. Went through and hit them, TP'd everyone out. What a pleasure. Beautiful. We had the US dollar JPY, got it 142.10, 144 was the TP, and hey presto, we got 144. So that was another beaut. Got there, 144.18, got on Friday, that hit the TP. What a beaut. So we've had some bad news on the Brent DJPY, but we got 1, 2, 3 winners hitting on the S&P, the GBP and the USD yen. One still in motion at profit, so it's lining up the good news now. And the other one was CHF-JPY, and that one I think was still in. Got in at 145.20. It's quite a wide TP. 145.20. This was a buy. 145.20. CHF-JPY is correct. Yeah. 145.20. Got a TP, a big one here. 150. Oh yes, they had TP. Hit the TP. No, that was on Thursday. This is Friday. We got in on this one on Friday. Beg your pardon, line. That was a Thursday jump around. Was the news. Forget it. Okay. So anyway, we're in nice profit at the moment. Some suggest turn this loser into a winner by modifying the stop loss. You're at 145.20, so we're 115, 120 pips profit at the moment. Maybe put it up to maybe 145.80 or something and put it down, which I'm going to tick off now so we can trade. You might get stopped out, it'll be in a profit. You might make the TP, but modify your stop in the meantime. Don't get it too close. Give the trade a chance to bounce up and down. We don't want to get stopped out making 20 units. We can make 50, 60, 70. You get the idea. I've got to think of your feet a little bit there, but that one was a winning trade. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 winners. We've got a couple of losers. So even 2 out of 3 winners we always aim at. We've had a bit of a better run at the moment in the trading room. So funny enough, 2 out of 3 is a little bit of a disappointing side. We've had more 4 out of 5 winners. So it's a slight drop in the standard of PR Marines here, but only getting 2 out of 3. That's the envy of the guys who don't join the trading Marines. Okay, they would love to have a consistent 2 or 3. We are disappointed at it. So there we are. I'm not sure Warren's here actually. Come on, take a disappointment goes wrong. Some old packs all back goes right. Is Warren here? Not sure. Just check. Is he on board here? Is he here? No, he's not here at the moment. He might join later on this afternoon. But if he does, I'll say well done again. That's definitely his idea. Fantastic. So you hear that, guys? If you've got a trade out, put it up. If we don't agree on it, we won't. But don't stop you having another one till it does. I put forward several a day, and sometimes people don't agree. Sometimes they do. If we do, we'll agree. Then we send it. That's the idea of the forum. Don't take it personally. Don't get it wrong, right? But that was a beaut, and rather laid on thick to encourage people. Helps you overcome when you don't get it right. Okay, so that's me covered that little lot. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of things. One thing now is against a trend, which is probably going to throw something at me. I think we get a bit of a pullback. Sell the dollar. Are you out of your cotton picking socks, as they say? Right, dollar Swiss franc. I think that's seriously overcooked. I think the dollar's going to come off. It hit over 114. It's dropped down now just over 113. The yields are still pretty high. That's not the dollar. Yields on the 10-year note, as I mentioned many times, you need to have it. Very important. Now, even that's dropped below 3.8%, which it was at one stage just above it. So, yeah, look at the Dow. The Dow at the moment is about flat. Can't tell much from that. So, I think this could actually pull back a bit. So, that's what I was thinking for the guys who are seriously aggressive. Could see maybe do a quick bloody scalp short, but I'm a bit hesitant to push it just in case. But basically what I'm trying to say is I've been going on like a stuck record about how good the dollar is, but I think even that, I mean, nothing goes on forever. So I think the dollar might get a bit of a pull back a bit now, as I've mentioned. Might give a bit of a pullback on the dollar. Bit of profit taking, a bit overcooked. Some sellers might come in, guys take the money off the table, could get a bit of a pullback. So I will wait for a pullback to buy the dollar again, but very aggressively. Excuse me. For those guys who've been doing this before, not new guys, take a quick risky, you're going against the trend short to take advantage of. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it's a piece of advice you should go against the trend, just make you aware of it. Okay. But I think we're going to get a bit of a pullback on the yields a bit of a pullback on the dollar, and I think we're going to get some weakness creeping in on the yen. Maybe have a look at it during the course of the day, see what happens. Okay. Right. Okay, that's my sort of morning soliloquy. Finitoed. Yeah. Anything else you want to look at? Anything else to go back over? Any of the indices, shares, opportunities? Any opportunities? That's the best way of covering it. You'd like to look at. And don't forget, sometimes you think about it, just go on a little bit more. There are going to be days where you get too many trades, you just don't know what to deal with them. You haven't got the capital going to all of them, they're all good. Other days, it's just going to be a bit of a desert, feast or famine often. So I haven't really got anything at the moment, but to keep an eye on, but that's it. I think it's got a profit taking, if nothing else, Gerard. It's profit taking. I mean, put yourself, always I say, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Could go in, and it's overcooked, Cheryl, but look at the moment. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. You've gone in and you've done it and it's going so well. In the end, you want to take your profit off the table. That's why a lot of guys go and have their shares listed. You've done well, you've got your company on the exchange, and now you're worth a large amount of money, but you've got to borrow from your wife a couple of bucks to go shopping because all your money's tied up in your shares on the market. So you need to sell a few shares to release some of the profit. Okay, well, same sort of principle. You need to take some profit, bank it. What do you do if you're long? You get a profit by selling, aren't you? If you're short, you get a profit by buying. That's going to have a bit of a bounce on the insurance price. So I think the 18 is going to, unless we see continued dollar strength, you know, have a bit of a move back. I'm not saying sell short the dollar rand. The costs are higher on an exotic, as I mentioned many times. And remember, it is an exotic. It's not a major or a cross. So you have a lot higher costs involved. That's normal throughout the brokerage industry. If you want to start buying or sell a peso, or not the big ones, you tend to have higher costs involved. But I think you might hover on 18, but it might get a pullback. It's not the yen. It's just the ZAR. It's just that I think it's very overcooked, and there'll be some profit-taking pullback. I do think that. Okay, that's my thinking. Load shedding big time, no doubt about it. And it's not just load shedding at the moment; it's kicking off 3 times a day. And not anyone can afford a 14 grand converter, which I luckily have. Not that it's mine, the company bought it, thank you very much. We can boil a bloody kettle on it. So to me, it's just a minor inconvenience. Guys out there, it's an extreme inconvenience. And on top of it, from a business perspective, it's billions being lost on it. Not just billions of lost of income, pain in the private sector. Remember, they're the guys that pay the taxes for these bloated bureaucracies to stay in existence. Got to get the money from the taxpayer. And that's been cut down. And on top of it, which is just, if not even more valuable, is the perception worldwide, we cannot run our ship. We can't look after ourselves. We know what we're bloody doing. It's a very negative, they don't say it out loud, completely incorrect. But I think our guys haven't a clue what the hell they're doing. They're more interested in promoting within their mates to it and rather collecting rather than taking responsibility or doing, you know, I mean, it's the perception is not good, you know, and so that does not encourage them to start investing in that area. You wouldn't the other way around, same sort of principle. Okay, no come all the emotions, give us a chance on that. You're not going to vote in a hopeless case if you didn't think you're getting a return. We're all like that. You're killing a communist or capitalist or whatever. It's understandable. And that's added up to extremely negative perception. The entire political landscape is unfortunately, with a few exceptions, littered with takers rather than givers, if you see what I mean. Okay, so that is where the problem is. And it's, well, it's virtually fact, actually, whether you like it or not. And anybody, any intelligence or economic understanding is not happy about it because it's just squandered it all. And the biggest people, of course, like always to suffer, are at the lower end of the market. They haven't got the buffer, the safety net to look after them. And it's not good. I think we'll know it, but just, yeah. So going forward, very much ESCOM is that. Do you know what ESCOM is? Electricity Supply Commission. That's what ESCOM is. It's a, what do you call it? The word, can't be the right word. ESCOM means Electricity Supply Commission. Whatever is a misnomer, that's it. And whether we like it or not, say 5 years we did without electricity, our entire economy is built on electricity. Without power, you can't transport, you can't do squat. In fact, there's a book I read recently in America where they had a terrorist attack on the grid and it was out for a couple of months and it was virtually total civil war. We don't understand how utterly vital it is to our continuance, if you like. You can't move, you can't get petrol, you can't do anything, you can't get food, anything. So it is a major situation. And that is not just a strength of dollar, a major contribution of the weaker around. You're quite right. I just want to put it in the perspective how bad the situation is. I've been on about it the last 3, 4, 5 years. And no. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, someone's got to take the go anyway of getting rid of half those bloody well-paid bureaucrats or paper pushing, unfortunately not usefully, because that wage bill means they can't even pay off the capital because they're back to pay the interest on the capital. An acronym. Well, it's not an acronym. It is an acronym. It's another word for it. But yeah. That's right. Kind of. Gerard, Afrikaans. Try to point out the English. Well, it's not English. It's an ancient Greek word actually, but to an English guy to remember it. Thanks very much. Slightly embarrassed to admit I've forgotten it. Thank you. Right. So getting back to the GBP CHF, and was the other one you wanted to look at? GBP USD. Let's go with the GBP. On the moment, I would say that the pound is the weakest and the dollar is the strength. Remember, I get the middleweight, heavyweights, lightweights, and the pound's a middleweight for a while. Now the pound's not in a lightweight; it's the weakest. The dollar at the moment. I might come back to it, like I mentioned, but at the moment it's the dollar #1, then the Swiss franc, and then the Canadian, and then I'm saying the Japanese. Now I don't know how long it's going to last. Pumped into the middle with the Aussie and New Zealand, and in the week is the euro, and now the pound. It's the weakest of the lot, just so you bear that in mind. Okay, I'll start with the US dollar first of all. We'll look at that spike there. I'll be very nervous to join the short now, and I'm very nervous to buy the pound. It's jumped up 353 pips. Is that correct? Yeah, it's jumped up 353 pips in the last few hours, not days, hours. I tell you what, we call ourselves Marines, but we're not bloody suicide kamikaze bloody traders. And I think that's kamikaze stuff to buy us all at the moment, to be honest. Carol, you see my point? That's it's 10 hours old today, and it's jumped down and popped up again. We're not talking NASDAQ here, we're talking bloody Forex. Let's do it again, make sure I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Is that true? Nearly 400 pips it's moved the last 10 hours. Almost unheard of, actually. Not many times, very rare you get that kind of movement. I wouldn't buy or sell this. This is far too, even for the NASDAQ, that's a bit much. You get my point. So keep an eye on it. We get up to these sort of, I don't know what level I can't even begin to get. It's kind of volatility. We might get an opportunity, but I'll stay clear for it. Anyone disagrees, say so. GBP CHF, probably a similar situation. GBP CHF, looks like a similar situation. What we got on this one today? Yeah, another bounce of 350. I would just steer clear of that. That's kamikaze. That's not trading marine stuff. If anyone doesn't know what a kamikaze is, I'm told it's a very strong cocktail you get in the keg. Nothing to do with Japanese suicide pilots, so I'm told. But it might not be true. But joking part, you get my point. Cheryl, she downstairs, I'll finish business. Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. Dollar yen, wouldn't be chasing it now. Certainly wouldn't be shorting it. Wouldn't be chasing it now. Would I be buying it? Absolutely. Would I buy it now? Better price. Simple as that. You had one out, I think, Mintamar. I can't remember which day it was last week. I think you did very well out. I can't remember which it was. So here somewhere, I think it was yours. Put your name down somewhere. Anyway, did okay with it. So well done there, mate. Okay, I buy it, but not now. That's my opinion. Unless somebody disagrees, I mean, it's up to you. You might say, sorry, I'm going to buy it now. Anyone want to do this now? You need to tell me. Not in half an hour's time. Time. Euros, right, 10 o'clock. Just fine. Thanks very much, Heather. Just check. We've got economic calendar. I've got my minimized German GDP. Haven't updated there. Should come at 8. Lagarde speaking at 3 o'clock. Why not updated? So if anyone could tell me what that was, it will help. Okay. Scares you, it certainly scares me. Okay, let's go back. I just think it scares you or not. I think common sense, it's a bit too jumping around to get too cute with it. I mean, you don't want to start putting 500 pip at these stop losses. That's $50 a micro risk. So leave the US dollar yen, get a better price. I think we'll get more upside. Just give it a moment. If we get back down the 142s, we can buy it. Euro GBP. This is one that they're both in the lightweight zone, don't forget. So they're both weak. I'd still probably back the euro pound to pound really is the problem at the moment. We're even talking about euro parity with the dollar. Hockenschorre. That's called a spoon, by the way. Shock and horror, like Friar Tapser-Spoonerism. My meaning, naughty boy that I am. Euro, I'd be back at the moment, but as a buy. But look at that, even that's had a bit of a pullback. Not quite 350, but 235 in the last 3 hours. So clearly, be careful. Let this dust settle. This is a bit hot for my bloody blood. See that? If it scares Zeph, and he's a top trading marine, should be scaring the other guys as well. Possible sell at 9. Yeah, if it gets there. Yeah, if it gets there. Yeah. I think they're pushing our Latsi parity. I thought parity wouldn't hold the euro. It did. But I don't know. I think it's a bit of a way to get to parity on the pound dollar. It might happen down the line, but I think it's asking a bit much. But I still see a great sell. Just a second. Got my green shirt on here because I'm hoping for a bullish day. Okay, yeah, so I see a sell, but I'm tend to see probably clear the 1.1 or something, 1.09, yeah. But that's a long way away. If it gets there, we'll have a relook. What's a gilt? You ask me what a gilt is, and Kelly's got the right question. Well, a gilt is when you like a US Treasury bond or any bank, Treasury note by the bank, any Treasury note by the bank is what they call 100% gilt. 100% gilt. Anything that's backed up by the government, like an SOE, is called a semi-gilt. It's got the backing of the government. So you get very low interest rates because the risk is so small. So bottom line is, if you, oh God, here we go again, Eskom added. Okay, another load shedding. Okay, so yeah, that's why they made such a fuss of Greece a few years ago, because they call it sovereign debt, because that's supposed to be the 100% guarantee in theory. Okay, that's sort of all benchmark equity management built on that. And that's why they have a small interest rate, because it's absolutely guaranteed. More on the bank, you put money in the bank and the same deposit is guaranteed, but not the same as the sovereign guarantee, if you get my point. Then you get the semi-gilt, which you might have heard of. It'll be things like, say, Eskom and Denel and Transnet, etc. And that's why it's such a problem, because people can invest in that knowing they got the government's backing. So go on and that's the guarantee. So keep on investing it, but then you start worrying about sovereign debt. They can't pay the debt. Once the government battles to pay the debt, that's why there's such a fuss made. Now, Greece is a country of 10 million people. Look at the fuss and damage to all the economy that. Can you imagine a bigger country having it? Sorry, all due respect, we're biggish, but no, but nothing like Italy or someone like that. When that happens, it is going to have an astronomical effect on the skittles worldwide, if you know what I'm saying. So that's basically what a gilt is. Okay. Hope that was sort of explained. Okay. If it's not, well, I'll forget it. Puzzle for £8.20. I don't understand. I see you taking the piss of me. Literally wants to risk £8. Yeah, I know. That worries me a little bit because often these guys aren't joking around. I mean, there's some of them are so economically and non-understanding. Oh, I see what you mean. It's better that they think they can do that. I've seen guys put in literally 20, 50 rand. I think they're going to do something. It's a pity, really. It's almost sad. Yeah. 1820, we'll get there. No, it's impossible. But I think it's a bit overcooked. I think I have a bit of a pullback. Profit taking pullback to nothing else. You got that, good enough. Good thing. Thanks, John. Okay, so there we are. Someone else want to mention, some guys go up and say, do you trade in the SOFTS soft? And we don't have it here. So some of you might see crop up sometimes in Business Day and chit chats, Bloomberg or whatever. And you know what they're talking about? Just out of education moment. There's not many trades flying around. That's called the agricultural futures, like orange juice, coffee, soya beans, hogs bellies. I wouldn't like hogs bellies, you know, also like that one. That sort of thing. Agricultural futures, they're called the softs. The hards are things like the commodity hards, like gold or whatever, because it's more solid, if you know what I mean. Just a bit of education there now on the question answer situation. Just add in general oil, don't help you trading much because you don't need soybeans to buy or sell, but just so you know as it comes up. Okay. As I think of it, I'll just chuck it out there. Okay, right. So I'll be getting in about just a reminder of setting the signal. So pity some people haven't got the time. If you've got the time, remember, you can tell your friends or anyone else. All you have to do is go to the portal and go to social media on the menu down the bottom. There's on YouTube. If you can't there, see it afterwards because it's invaluable. Some of the stuff like they don't know that's moved 350 pips in the last hour. So because they're not pretend to trade and understand that, they jumping in on them without realizing our times really where it's a bit too hectic to jump in on. So yeah, guys, sometimes you can't make it or whatever, and we do have it posted on YouTube. Post out on YouTube, but easiest go to the portal, go to social media, and there's a recording. Just to go over a couple. You don't have to sit there a lot, but you fast forward and pick up something that might be of value to you. Okay. Yeah, well, in my opinion, I'll give him a chance. Try and pronounce his name, Kamzi. I call him KK. I've tried a couple of times getting this. I'm not good unless it's John Smith. You know, battle is Kamzi someone or Kamzu or whatever. KK, I call him. Now, what's happened? Trust has brought their own guys in. This is almost a total clean out. Remember, the government's in power. It's still conservative. It's not as if you're changing over the gun from Labour to Conservative for changes. But no, it's just it cleaned it out and brought our own guys in. And not sure I'm fully in accordance with that. Nothing wrong with Rishi Sunak, in my opinion, as a Chancellor. And he knows his stuff, and he's an investment guy. He made his fortune in investment as an investment banker. So he might just know something about what he's talking about. Not against Liz Truss, he might know about politics, I don't know. Not in that area, so I'm not too sure. But give this guy a chance to happen. But it's not just him. They had a mini budget here to try and lower taxes to stimulate. They were kicked out of that because they didn't lower taxes on fuel, which caused a lot of problems, transport problems. They might have a point here, but everyone's got a point somewhere. Now, overall, fortunately, to be honest, sorry for getting upset, guys, are strong socialists there, but from an economic position here, the Europe and America are very left, very socialist, and all very nice in bunny hug. From an economic perspective, it's not so bright. It's been proven over and over again, and that's why it's. But amongst a lot of other reasons, more complicated economic reasons, having a problem. And of course, I have to bring that horrible word up, immigration as well. There's too many guys coming in who want, not to give. I mean, you know, doesn't matter where they come from. If they're coming to put in, either invest or with skills required, different ballgame. If you've got no skills you're coming across with, but you want return, it costs. So it's nothing to do with any other reason, or religion, or race, or sexuality, what's got to do with it. Politics might make a song and dance, gain some political points to get votes, but the real reason is they're not coming in to contribute. And if you're not going to come across and not going to contribute, you're going to take. Clearly, you're adding to the problem rather than taking it away. And that's unfortunately put a lot of pressure on the free national health and all the other aspects. So it's not looking pretty. Dollar strong at the moment. Pound's about the weakest currency out of the six big boys. And it's actually a major of the pound, don't forget. And so, yeah, still a rally, but don't get too caught up with it now. Jumping around 350 pips on a Forex pair in a few hours is a bit too rich for my blood. Up to you, but that's what I think. Well, it's not, give them a chance. I mean, it's a new thing. I mean, human beings are like that. They don't like change, you know? Rather the devil you know, the devil you know, as they say. And we're used to that guy. And all accounts, he's pretty good. I mean, he might not have I don't know why I didn't vote him in, but they might not quite like him like Liz Truss. Obviously, human emotions. Again, what's that got to do with it? But we're human, you know. Oh, he was rude about my wife. Well, sorry about that, but he's a brilliant whatever, you know. You get the idea. But yeah, I personally agree with Luke. I don't know the guy that way, so he's new. It's fairly unheard of to put in that position. So give them a chance, see what happens, settle down. But yeah, there's more I can't say on that. Okay. Okay, all right. Gold, anything moving? Because I'm thinking we might get a bounce on gold. Probably save to sell the rally, gets back to 1680. It might not get there. If it does get to 1660 or 1665, we can sell it again. I'm a little bit nervous of buying the bounce, which I think is going to occur. Okay. NZDJPY, any recovery? I think all you guys are knocked out. That's the problem. No, glad. Hate to say it. Nothing worse than it recovers and you've just been stopped out. That's just me being bloody minded or bitter and twisted. So I hate it when that happens, but look like it ain't. So. Brent's another one. Are we getting any bounce there? Due for, and that's for sodding short. No, it's not getting the bounce. That's why very careful to come off so much. You're stopped out, you're annoyed, mouse bounce here, chase again by jumping in. I've been tempted so many times and reading that temptation, and often, not always, sometimes right, but often it comes back and bites. Try to track you in having a bit of a jump up. Look, today, again, remember it's only a few hours old today. It jumped up here. Where is this now? Over 86. You think, the recovery, what a pleasure. And it came flying down at 83.30, took that 84, thought the bounce would come in, and then it catches the guys and down it comes. So we'll keep an eye on it, leave it alone. But I think some sort of bounce is in order, but it might sideline here for a while, just see what happens. My weekly snippet, I think, we're out to you guys today on the group. If I remember right, I was fairly circumspect what to do with this Brent at the moment. I think I'm going to go with this. Okay. I'm hoping we're going to get some more direction today. You asked me this morning, Gerard, on WhatsApp. Might be later on today or going into tomorrow. I speak some dollar and the yen, etc. Some sort of action, maybe get something. At the moment, I think it's a bit too close. I think you've got to look from what's happening with the big boys as well. And you can see the way it's jumping around. There's massive indecision out there. Just go to the 1 hour. It's probably easier to do it on there, not the daily. Look at that, it's massive indecision going through. They don't know themselves. No disrespect, but they don't know. I'm not sure you guys get to know. They've all their PhD and them multi-bloody $million backups and support systems, computer algorithms, God knows what they have at their disposal. So they're not bloody sure. I wouldn't sort of get too clever at the moment. Go back to Osborne there, GBP USD. Go over that quickly again. You might have missed it, might have just joined in a moment too after explanation. Put back the day. Look what happened here. This is a daily chart and it's moved down today in 1 day, 500 pips. That's a big deal on the NASDAQ, and that's the most volatile instrument we got. On the Forex pair, it's almost unheard of. It's not unheard of, it's almost unheard of, don't forget. Very rare, 500 pips. And this is not a 24-hour day, it's a 10-hour, 20-minute day before it zoomed back up. All that, sorry, do this again properly. So zoom back up all at 380. You get the idea. Would you want to be trading that? Clearly not. So stick around, keep your powder dry, be patient. Sometimes you get 100 trades, sometimes you get nothing, or several trades and sometimes nothing. This is the time I think keep that powder dry. Well, there you are, Osborne. You wouldn't. I just say nothing brilliant about that. I'm not saying anything clever there. It's common sense. No. It's just you're driving 180 in a 60 zone, in a built-up zone. Would you be doing it? It's not a clever thing to do. That's just no, leave it alone. Patient, wait till it settles down. We might get a decent rally, and then the dollar's still strong. We'll short it down, and we can start looking at 100 or 80 pip stops. We don't want to be trading 600 pip stops. That's $60 a micro. In rands, that's over 1,000 rand for 1 micro on a forex pair. That's just ridiculous. Okay. My dear, I hope it's clear. What I'd been thinking, and after all, I think it's actually common sense. Too many guys teaching these on YouTube show off mystique. 99%, they pick the demo they had in the past. It's not live, so they check it out, see if it fits in their narrative, and they do a YouTube on it. Well, they know what's going to happen, so they can give a nice chat to see how this and this worked out for them. If it didn't, they wouldn't have picked that particular screenshot to show you clearly. So, and then they like to say all complicated stuff to make them sound clever and important. A lot of it, I'll be honest with you, is basic common sense and normal human fear, greed, emotions. Okay. There's a fair few coming out this week, yeah. Powell and Lagarde have spoken a couple of times this week. So, yeah, which I don't like happening because it stuffs the system up. I hate it when they come on because what the hell are they going to come out with? Well, it's not that the fear of it. I have to say, in all honesty, particularly Powell's been pretty predictable on that. He's stuck to his guns. It's more of the same most of the time. But you never know, so it makes you nervous, which doesn't help the cause. Yeah, exactly. Next couple of days, yeah. So keep an eye on that economic calendar. Again, if you haven't got it, economic calendar, or you haven't got the DXY, the dollar index link that is, or you haven't got the yields and the 10-year note link, guys, I ain't going to post it until you ask. It's quite a copy and paste from the chat line. I'm trying to get the guys not to sit in the background, sit on the fence, not even put their hand up and ask and expect it to happen for them. No, you've got to come to the party as well. If you want it, join in and ask. I'll put it on my pleasure. If you don't ask, I'm going to make something you already know, so don't hold up the Anyas and the Osbornes and the Gerards and the Ashleys and whatever who want to get on with the trading, just because I'm sort of begging and pleading the other guys who are sitting waiting for it to be done for them. Sounds harsh, but you've got to, control your own destiny, not just rely on someone to do it for you. Okay. So if you don't have the yields link, you don't have the 10-year note. Sorry, I just said that. The yields link, the DXY or the economic calendar, just ask and you'll be given. If you don't ask, I'm not going to give because I don't know. Okay. Well, that's all clear. None of them. To be honest, looked through quite a few, and maybe because I've been doing it for a while, I haven't really learned much, and not really. I expect there are there. I mean, I haven't looked for every one of them. Don't bother much anymore. So probably 1 or 2 buttes, but not really. You see, my problem is most of those guys doing that are either promoting their likes and the subscriptions, so they get paid money on that to get the advertising revenue. So it strikes me as more interesting advertising revenue by getting millions of likes than anything particularly earth-breaking in helping you to make money for yourself and trading. And believe me, if I'm going to put on there stuff that's going to be 90% correct on a consistent basis, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to keep to myself. Get my luxury yacht in the Bahamas, keep using the Bahamas, maybe I should shift the Seychelles, I don't know, somewhere and keep to myself, because the more people know about it, the more it dilutes the market. I'll give you an simple answer I mean. If you didn't know about a smartphone, and I showed you one right now and what it can do, I guarantee the guys give me 50 grand for one. But now everyone get them for about 5 grand because it's user release. It brings the price down. See my point? Keeping it exclusive keeps the price up. I keep my non-exclusive to myself, although I dilute it. So none of the ones, I'm not saying they're bad, but none of them particularly brilliant on it. I just think that they're more like a lot of these things. They're selling their product rather than actually selling you anything that's going to make a change in your life. My opinion, maybe I'm cynical, I don't know. When you get older, anyone similar age finds you get less and less tolerant of BS. I think it's one of the downsides of getting older. You're a JPY. We've had a bit of a hard time on that one. So like the CAD JPY, because it's suddenly coming out of nowhere, not come out of nowhere, but a little bit coming out of nowhere. Just, yeah, and strength come out, knocks around a bit. But yeah, I think the euro is slightly weaker than the yen at the moment. But will that continue? I'm not so sure. I'm not keen. And look at that. It's tried to break above. It's failed. And we've tried this. No, I'm thinking the AUD JPY. Beg your pardon, I'm the wrong one. Sorry. I think AUD JPY. That's tried to buy it a couple of times. It's come right, but other times, if you're yeah, the euro is not the strongest in the going. So if I'm gonna sell the yen, I want to get a strong currency to sell it against. As simple as that. And to buy it, if you wanted to, maybe confirm break the entire candle above 50, put it in the buy zone, maybe then see what Lagarde says during the week, etc. But yeah, I see going into the week, maybe the next one, maybe you're slightly ahead of the game in the year. I'm not sure, not enough to even make a guess on it. I'm not keen. But just remember to say, if you're going to go for, if you can say, let's say you pick a weak one like the pound, you want to sell the pound against a currency like the CAD or the Swiss franc or the US dollar, not against another one that's also pretty weak. That's why I'm not often keen on the CAD CHF. Some guys have done it and done well, great, but I'm not that keen. AUD NZD, similar. You know, you get a couple of months of the New Zealand does well, and then a couple of months the Aussie does well, but they're similar. I'd rather get, I'd rather a bit of disparity between the fundamental strength of the currencies and then find a decent entry by looking at my charts. If you get my point, that sort of clarifies it. But it doesn't say I'm right. I mean, other guys, Jeff might think it's a brilliant idea. Osborne might, Gerard might, Anya might. But then we'll put it up and I'll put down your names and give it a go. I personally not. Like the euro dollar, I think it's a bit overcooked. See, we've had an overcooked bounce. I looked at it actually, I'm just too scared because you can't tell. I mean, are those overcooked bounce there? And I've seen my arms. How do I know it's not going to go frightened down? But somewhere on the line, I expect a bit of that. Actually, looked like it did come to something there. Looked like something. Where did I get that? I didn't put it on recently. Maybe I had that from a while back. I don't know. No, it didn't really work out. I see 161.8 Fibonacci extension right on it. Just shows these Fibonacci work quite well, hey? So it seemed to come right down. The Fibonacci extension had a bit of a bounce. So let's have a look at the size of this bounce. Like, is it as bad or big as the pound? Yeah, well, not as big as the pound, 120 pips. It's quite a bounce. I thought it was inevitable coming, but I didn't want to preempt it because if I had, I might have crimped it too early and then you're going to get knocked and you would fell up. Leave the battlefield for a moment. Okay. I'm afraid to say I'm 100%, not 99%. Yeah, I'm 100% agreement on that one. Very few things are 100%, and that's one of them. Okay. Right. Any trades you're in the moment? Let's see how they're progressing. Anything you want to discuss on that level? Because I'm going to sit tight a little bit, have another look at 4. well, true, don't get me, I'm talking the trading room times and see if we can get into today. If we can't, rather play it easy and maybe look at it tomorrow. Times like this, I think I'd rather play a little bit safe and patient. NASDAQ and S&P, be careful of that. This has got large accounts, guys, because S&P not so much, but NASDAQ particularly because it jumps around. Going 3-4 micros, that's a big move, can give you some stick on that one. NASDAQ, I'm going to stick with my guns here, short the rally, but not right now. I think we could get it slightly higher, get near 11.5, 11.6. Have a check the dollar, have a look at the yields. The yields start to go back up again, the dollar strengthens again, it gets to about 11.5-ish, around about, not exactly, around about that level. And you can short again if you've got the Tom to short for that NASDAQ. I won't be getting too cute at the moment. S&P, we just had a nice TB hit there, did very well in that trade. Enjoy your profit if you were on board, without getting too cute to try again. Yeah, again, sell the rally, probably sell it around about this level here. If we can get a decent trade on it, excuse me a second. Maybe, yeah, near the 3.8 mark, I don't know, might get a bit higher, I don't know. But I wouldn't be buying the bounce, but I think it could get a bit of a bounce. I mentioned just now, I'm not keen on that pair. Just that one, I'm just not keen on, like I mentioned. Too similar. At the moment, the Dodge is stronger, but that could be very different in a month or two. Could get a bit of a pullback here if that's what you're looking at, as you can see, but I'm not keen. It might break and face down. That means you can go up or go down. That doesn't help me at all. You see my point? You can go up and go down. That's not, that doesn't, we know that. That's not going to help my cause. Do I think it's going to go up or down? I have no idea, so I'll leave it. If you're looking for a pullback to buy it, absolutely. This is not one of my favorite pairs, to be honest, but if you feel that way, yeah. Having said that, I look at the previous candle wicks. To be honest, they do look higher highs on them, and the lows are higher lows, sorry. So probably, yeah, leaning towards the buy would be the correct way to go if you get a decent entry, but that's just me. Okay. I didn't paste it there, and yet because nobody else seemed to want it, so I'm not going to waste the time. But if they wanted it, I'd have pasted it. I never come across that. It's not meant that way anyway, just because I'm a bit loud and outgoing. But it's vital for people to get the confidence where they can start making their own decisions. We have too many guys been in this for a long time, still can't make a decision unless someone else tells them, then they're not in control. My opinion, not. Maybe a few years ago, to be fair, you could. But today, everybody and everybody else has got a cell phone. Anyone who's trading has got a cell phone and a smartphone. If you can't afford a smartphone, you can't afford a trade. Simple as that. And so they have access to that. And because everyone's got access, they didn't have the past or knew about it, as a result of it, it's becoming a larger factor. So you've got to know some of your stuff. It used to be sort of overwhelming. That's it. But now, I still, the technicals are still slightly ahead of the game. I give you that. But you've got to know what's happening in the world too. You've got to. Trading without it is you're not using the full tools at your disposal. Okay, right. I'll put the tools up for you. Then I'll do that quickly. Just a second. There's three: the economic calendar, the dollar index. Just give me a moment. And this is the yields on the bond. Quickly mention that, copy and paste. Right, what does that mean, the yields on the bond? 10-year US Treasury notes, the most traded paper in the world, okay? And as a result of it, yields go up and down depending on the economy. High yields are bad for gold and bad for the market. Low yields are good for gold and good for the market. So if you're about to go and sell short gold and you see the yields plummeting from 3.7 to 3.6 coming down big red and the dollar weakening, you wouldn't want to be selling, you'd be thinking of buying it, and vice versa. I think you've got to watch out with, remember, gold is the fear factor to go to instrument. So if a bomb goes off somewhere which shouldn't go off, or some massive negative comes out, people often run to gold as sort of like a safe haven, and that can have a bit of a push up on it. But outside some sort of bomb going off, for a better word, those are the basic rules to follow. Keep them and keep them minimum. So you can refer to your trading. You don't say jump in, had a bit of a bounce on gold, I think I'm going to sell it now, and you see the dollar falling. You wouldn't be doing that. You'd be waiting. Take it in conjunction. Well, you say you're doing that, Anya, but can I ask you an honest question? Have you found a value to you? You post on there for the guys, because if you have, it gives a backup. It's all right me to say it, but it's nice for you to say it as well as somebody out there in the trading room. So if it has been of use to you, just say so. If it hasn't, obviously, then say that as well. But has it been of use to you? Knowing that. Remember, there you are. So that's Andy saying it as well. And if I remember right, you've only been doing this for a few months. You haven't been doing this for years and years. So it shows what can be learned. Yeah, there you are. I certainly wouldn't jump into the NASDAQ or S&P or the Dow or shares or gold without checking on that. And I like to keep an eye on each on the calendar, so not be jumping in the guard's about to speak of buying or selling a euro. Or non-farm's coming out in 20 minutes' time. You're going to suddenly buy the euro or sell the dollar or vice versa. Be a bit skeptical of doing that. Sorry, something I'm going to mention here. Thanks, Solly, for reminding me. Very much indeed. Yeah, I haven't copy and paste. There's a reason why. The only use that can have is just to find a pair to have a look at and just check it out. That's all it does, and then you can check it out on the fundamentals and on the technicals. I'm often worried about copying and pasting on here because so many guys jump in and jump on that basis. It's not good enough. It's on lagging indicators. It needs to be refreshed, and they sometimes forget to do that. It's out of date anyway. They suddenly see the dollar's come off a bit and the yen's gone up. So then sell the dollar yen, because the indicators and seeing 3 bars on the dollar on the yen. So that might just been a bit of a pullback on the hourly or something like that, or the moment you clicked on that button. And that's just, they're not reading the information correctly. So I'm not so keen to put it out. If the guys know the score, I'm not a problem with it at all. But a lot of guys are looking for some blind, easy way, effortless way to make a buck with little knowledge, and they misinterpret information without looking at the bits and pieces on it, and it's coming back and biting. Remember, all the heat map does, look for something, you've got to check it out, because it's directly up and down on the movement. Now, you suddenly see AUD look pretty weak at the moment. If you went and checked it out, it's just come off. So the indicator will start pointing down. Well, I can see it pointing down without having to look at an indicator, but on there, it will say be more bars on the NZD than AUD, so you jump in and sell it. Is that wise? This could be just a pullback. Check out, is in the buy zone, neutral zone. It's in the buy zone. Rather buy the pullback. So jumping on the heat map. So I'll post it if people want it, but you must understand its limitations as well as its positives, if you see what I mean. Well, I agree. I mean, you don't have to have it, but if you can, I mean, it's worth it. I mean, I'm just probably taking it seriously. I don't know what account is. It's not for me to tell you anyway. I could check it out. It's not for me. It's just for me and Earth, client privilege and all that. But if you've got a tiny account, well, you know, probably going to pay for the screen. But my screen is a decent sized one. It's about 3 times the size of the laptop. I keep my charts, etc., on that one, which you're looking at the moment. And in front of me, as I look at the camera, that is my, at the moment, is my, it's my yields up at the moment. but I can flick across to the other ones, all minimized on my second screen. It's got a laptop screen with the investing.com ones are posted, and the bigger one, which I'm looking away to the right there, clearly on my workstation, which is basically a TV screen, to be honest, which I've used for my charts. So it's just a bit more clear for me. Unless you start getting decent money and you're spending more time on it, then you might as well get the right tools to do the job. I always say you're not going to trust an electrician who comes out with a glass hammer, a glass screwdriver, a glass whatever they come out with, or a car mechanic with a glass spanner. You know, you wouldn't trust him too much. A cheap plastic one doesn't say much, does it? Ah, right, yeah. Good to have a husband. Maybe I should get one. Don't think so, guys. Not my style. Yeah, nice to get something practical, eh? Good there. Just noticed something as I'm waffling there. That's probably a bit of nonsense talking there. Look at it. You see, it's bouncing around a bit. Can't make its mind up. Came off a bit, bounced up to maybe 85, held, came off. Jumping up there, we're getting somewhere here. Maybe we should buy it now. It's come down so low, and then the sellers come in and disappoint you. It's very much sideways. Be careful. Now I'm thinking of a sell on this one because I think the euro is still a bit weaker. But remember, coming up later on today. Don't forget that, guys. Euro AUD. Wait there. Euro AUD. Where's Euro? Euro AUD. We're in a channel and waiting for it to break the channel and wait further back. Oh, it could be either way. Yeah, it could be more upside. Get some strength come to Europe. To be honest, I'll go back to the fundamentals there, Zef and guys out there. I think I'm expecting the euro to strengthen going forward in the future. I think they've got to start take control of the eurozone. It's an enormous economy, and so it's got a lot of responsibility towards the world as well, because people buy and sell, and it's needed. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to say, if you're very poor, you're not needed. If you're rich, we need you. Hate to say it's the way it is. And I think they're going to start sharpening up their tools a little bit there, and we could see some euro strength coming in down the line. Even Italy has come back in with a lady. I think the first lady ever has come in, and she's the right wing. Now all these left-wing media, horror and shame. They're bringing back race and gender and God knows what. It's got nothing to do with it. It's to do with an economic factor. And the guys there, again the motion there, the problems they're having with coping with immigrants, and quite frankly, with socialist policies, which clearly have not worked in Venezuela and Russia and God knows where else. And they're saying that we've got to get some stability back in the economy. And I think there's going to be more of a move towards right-wing economic, not right-wing and all the emotional crap, but right-wing economic coming through, which could get a strength of the euro coming forward. Aussie, I personally think is reasonably strong, and nothing like Swiss franc, reasonably stable. Their major problem is it's only got about 50 million people, 5 million people, with a little bit heavily reliant on their trade agreement with China. So going to keep an eye on China, we're dealing with Australia, to a certain extent New Zealand as well. But overall, they're reasonably stable and reasonably okay. Pretty good, okay? So I think it's going to be more about the euro and the Aussie dollar. And I honestly think there's a good chance that if Lagarde can start getting some cohesion into interest rates, hawkish policies, get some more governments moving a little bit more to the centre from the left on the economic basis, not all the emotional race stuff, because that's been overdone, but the economic basis. Because I don't care what race you are, no one wants to be bloody broke or poor. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why are they crossing the border, not being broke or poor? So, yeah, I would say that probably down the line, they're going to have to sharpen up their ideas there, and so we could get a bit of euro strength creeping in, but don't preempt that. Leave alone for the moment. Might get a bit of a bounce to the 50-day if it gets there, but otherwise I don't see a trade at the moment. Yeah. Channel's all very fine. All I'm bringing for that, it's nothing more complicated than this, guys. Seth asked the question, but for everybody, indecision. I think a lot of other guys like me, think they're going to start to pull their socks up a bit against some of those rather impractical policies. Okay, and They've got the brains, they've got the infrastructure, they've got the education. They're just this sort of left-wing wave. Is all very nice, but it's got to be paid for, unfortunately. And yeah, and I think some a little bit ivory towerish there. But as somebody once said, one of the news programs, the average white liberal gets upset when their cell phone runs out of a battery. The average person who's supposed to be feeling sorry for crossing the border with no money, no nothing, that's the least of their worries. It's probably quite a different attitude. Because I think most of us are fair, but there's so much media hype going towards this. They're painting out people being some sort of bloody ogres. A lot of it's just selfish. So just be careful of that, be a bit more practical. And yeah, I think probably down the last step in that gap, I think I see some Euro strength coming in over the next few months going into the new year, because I think there's not much choice in the matter, but we shall see. South Africa, what I'm more worried about at the moment. I'm very worried about it. They just don't seem to begin to get this clue that's been screamed and shouted from the rooftops, and they don't seem to be doing anything. Still lots and lots of talk and interviews, avoiding questions, not saying anything directly, sit on the fence, flowery speeches, but it's maddening. And it's especially the Eskom situation, not just all the SOEs, but particularly Eskom. It's seriously a worry. And if we have a collapse, then you're going to see the whole thing fall, and you're going to see extreme anarchy. When it comes to starvation, forget law and order. Probably end up to be a military state, but then they've got to pay the military. You can. I'm not going to bother. You can do it yourself if you want. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to see if that 200 holds or not, and then have a look at it. Any other comments, guys? Unfortunately, we haven't got a trade idea this morning, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect one. So I'm not that disappointed. I think after this enormous volatility we've had, as we just checked out earlier on, and I was expecting it's going to be fairly quiet on the new trade front. So I'm going to continue that actually going the last few minutes, and hopefully, without getting too cute, we might have to wait till tomorrow, but hopefully we'll find something at 4. Rather keep your powder dry and wait rather than push it. My opinion at this stage. Okay. So even the Nasdaq's not really getting going. So it popped up. There's a 15-minute, remember, guys? Popped up, but didn't get any volume of movement upwards to short before it came in again. So it comes down a bit. Now, even this is a 10-minute old 15 count. So 2/3 of the 50-minute count we used up. Complete decision. I think it's going to be a little bit waiting game. That's what I look for. It's going to be a waiting game at the moment. Well, it's really true, but it's expected. I hate it when it's not expected. Expect something that happens. But yeah, I'm not surprised. So I was prepared for it. It was discounting my mental market. Expected there wouldn't be much coming out. We had the strategy room between us in the morning, and I was asked, "What do you have?" And he said, "Normally I've got 1 or 2, but 0 at the moment. So I'm just going to sit tight, keep the fingers crossed." Last thing I'll do is promote something, comes back and bites, because it's just, I hate it when it happens. I'm completely fed up on Brent. I should have actually, looking back, maybe waited. Who knows? It's always easy hindsight, but I hate it. I like chortling, gloating, and making a fool of myself, jumping up and down, screaming eureka when we get good ones out. So I do not like it when the bad ones come, so I'd rather sit and wait. And we've had a good run in here, and I don't want to suddenly screw it up by being too cute. It's one way of looking at it. It's probably not a bad way of looking at it, because you're waiting for a few potentials waiting to get. And then it's like buying value. You know, you fall off so much, value starts creeping in, and it becomes a much easier probability, or much more likely probability you're going to score out of it. So yeah, so I say like most things, you know, a few baddies, but a few goodies as well. Okay. Overall picture. Hey, Zeph and guys, you guys have been doing this last few months. I think safe to say, you know, it hasn't been too bad. We seem to get more goodies than baddies. Okay, I think it's about time we can all run, actually. It's getting near to 11. I've run out as well. Don't just waffle away and bore you. I expect you've got stuff to do. These are proper breakout, make a buy. I'm not sure about buying it, but anyway, I'm waiting for those who. So, it could, if the dollar comes off quite a bit, the yields come off, then we could get a bounce. I'm a little bit nervous of the bounce. I'm still the view of sell the rally, but we shall see. Okay, so right. Anything else I'd like to finish up with? I'm looking at might be a possibility as well. Yeah, but at the moment, yeah, the end gas one, just to bring back a bit of amusement to guys. That seems to have done actually quite well over the period of about a month or two, a long time. But seems to have done okay in the end. We had a TP down here somewhere. We got in, I don't know, I think we got in at nine something or other up here. So if one's been held over for God knows how long, we'll be smiling. I think most guys are out of that. But we'll see gold. But I still say I wouldn't be too keen on buying the bounce unless you really are going to take a risk. And once you're a few dollars moving the price in profit, get that stop loss move big time and quickly, so to protect yourself. But the more prudent way would be sell the rally. If we get 65 out of it and look at the DXY, we might get a short there. If it continues up, I think we've got a good shot, 1680, sell the rally as the way forward. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, can't really see much more on that. Well, I think it's coming up a couple of times this week, so it's going to be a little bit interesting. We'll find something, but yeah, just get it, as long as we're aware of it, it's the bottom line. Okay, someone just joined. Unfortunately, we're just about to close. See you at 4. I've run out. Anything else? Last couple of minutes, want to just clarify before we move on? I'm sincerely hoping so, yeah. Okay, guys. Right, I'll catch you later. Market opens 3:30. Keep an eye on what the guard says or whatever, and maybe we can get some direction there. We get back on our winning horse. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers now. Cheers. Thanks, Lucas. Cheers. Thank you.